Hi beautiful people, I'm Sadie and I am officially unemployed. So today I'm going to be telling you why. I also have a bunch of things that need fixing. I have seams to repair, I have a button to sew on. So grab a project that needs doing, stuff that needs fixing, something you're working on. Grab a beverage. I have hot chocolate. And settle in. Oh, also, really quickly before we start, this is my outfit of the day. We have the unemployment chic here with the comfy t-shirt, the super comfy jogging bottoms, and the homemade Nintendo Switch earrings. Oh, not to mention cozy stripy socks that say, let's have a cuddle, because the socks that also came in the other pack of them have avocados on them, but it makes zero sense with this pattern. The story I'm about to tell you is, it's not the worst luck I've ever had, I guess. It's definitely not the worst thing that could have happened, but it does sort of feel like the universe trying to give me a mental breakdown. Okay, we're going to start with some leggings. Oh yeah, there we go. This is the inner thigh, which should not look like this, so we're going to repair this. So, it starts with me getting a new job. Last year, I applied for a job as cabin crew. I'm not going to say which airline because I'm terrified of their social media policy. I applied back in October, I was successful, it was super exciting, and they gave me a start date for the 9th of February, provided all of my background checks go through in time. Fair enough. Obviously, there is like rigorous background checking with a job like cabin crew on an aircraft because, you know, you're not gonna massively security check every passenger that comes through if you're not also doing the same for the staff, right? So I had to give 5 years worth of employment history, and every single employer that I've had over the last 5 years was contacted for a reference. And I've had a lot of employers over the last 5 years. That just kind of comes with the territory of having mental health that looks like this. So that was a long process. It didn't help that the third-party company that the airline employed to do my background referencing was so bad. Like, so bad. Again, I'm not gonna name them, but oh my god. I don't think they actually knew the word communication. You know, I submitted this form back in November and they weren't contacting references until January, a month before I was supposed to start. So, naturally, my referencing was not all done in time. And 3 days before I was due to start, I got an email saying, sorry, yeah, no, you're not starting in 3 days. Your file still needs working on. A little bit annoying that they only gave me 3 days notice, but we can cope. Luckily, I had not in fact moved to London as I planned to. So I initially planned to move to London to make the commuting a little bit easier. However, despite my best intentions, I've gotten kind of attached to Southampton. You know, my bestest best friends are here. I have a lovely little place that I have settled into now all by myself, which is another thing. A lot of the places I was seeing in London were really small and just a single room with like 6 to 8 other people. You know, that was all I could afford there, and I just really didn't fancy moving in with a ton of strangers when I could live in my lovely little place by myself, surrounded by people I love. And I had heard of a few people who were commuting. One person even I met at my one of my appointments who also was planning on commuting from Southampton, so I was like, okay, I think this is doable, because if you're doing long haul flights, you're not driving to Heathrow every single day, and the commute is like 1 hour 20 anyway. It's not really the end of the world. So we decided to stick to Southampton, and thank goodness, because can you even imagine if I had moved to London with London rent and London prices and then suddenly found myself without a job, and also without a new start date, by the way. So when they sent me that initial email, they were like,
yeah, your file needs reworking. You won't be starting on the 9th.
No idea when I would be starting. It could have been weeks, it could have been months. No clue. I had already given my notice and left my current job, which was at the cinema. So, of course, as soon as I got that email, I panicked and went and begged for my old job back, which was really great for the old pride. But luckily, everyone there is really lovely. And so they were like, yeah, of course you can come back, even if it's just on a temporary contract or whatever. That's fine. Whew. It was somewhat sobering to be greeted every single shift I was in with somebody who hadn't seen me yet going, I thought you left. I thought you had a leaving due. Didn't you have a whole thing? And I just have to be like, yes, I know. Believe me, I know. But hey ho, sometimes you have to swallow your pride in order to be able to afford to eat. So I get a phone call about 5 days later saying,
your file's all done. You are all clear to start on the 22nd of February.
Great, that's only like 2 weeks away. I can definitely do that. I can handle that. And so I tell everyone at work, yes, I'm leaving on the 22nd of February. It's definite this time. They've told me I'm definitely gonna do it. We're getting excited, but also kind of nervous. You know, I applied for this job back in October. It was just post-breakup. I basically just wanted to run away from everything. And in the meantime, I had happened to get kind of attached to the people I have gotten close to in the meantime. So I'm starting to get a bit nervous and a bit like meh about starting. And the day before I start, I'm hanging out with some of my work friends and going, oh, I don't want to start. I just want to stay here with you guys. I know this place. It's all scary and new there. We'll just leave that there for a moment. We'll just, you know, just remember I said that. So that evening, the night before I'm due to start, I get to bed at 8:30 because I am supposed to be at Heathrow at 7 o'clock. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to leave the house at like 5:15. That's going to give me plenty of time if there's randomly any traffic at that time in the morning or whatever. It's going to be fine. So I go to bed at 8:30. I wake up at 4 a.m, which if you know me, if you know anything about me, you know is completely ungodly. Anything before about 8:30 is completely ungodly for me. I get my 8 hours of sleep. I'm up at 4 a.m. You know, there's some kind of level of excitement about it because it's kind of like when you go on holiday and you have to get up super early and it's pitch black outside. And it's like, ooh. And so I get in my car and I start driving. And then when I'm on the motorway, a light comes on my dashboard and it's the battery light. And I'm like, were you always on? Have I just never noticed you before? I'm just going to keep driving. I'm sure it's fine. And then I drive a little further on and another light comes on my dashboard. And it's the one with the wiggly lines and the thermometer thing. And I'm like, well, you definitely weren't always on. I would remember you. I'm just going to keep driving. It's probably fine. And then another light comes on my dashboard and it's the light that flashes and says, stop, stop, stop. So I'm like, you know what? I think I better pull over. So I pull over onto the hard shoulder. It's still pitch black. We're in the middle of the motorway. Well, not the middle because we're on the hard shoulder. We're on the edge of the motorway, but you get what I mean. We're about 40 minutes out of Southampton at this point. And as soon as I slow down to any degree, every flipping light that you can imagine comes on my dashboard. The anti-lock braking system light comes on. All of the other ones. I don't know cars. The power starts going, like my lights start dimming and the steering gets really hard because the power steering is going. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God I was in the left lane and I managed to get onto the hard shoulder. But obviously at this point, it's pitch black. It's 5:45 in the morning. I'm supposed to be at Heathrow in like an hour, which I was on track for, and now I have no idea what's going on with my car. So obviously I burst into tears and ring my dad, and my poor dad has to wake up at 5:45 in the morning to a phone call from me, and he doesn't get any warm up into it. There's no like, hi dad, sorry it's so early. It's just I am talking like while the phone is ringing. I'm there going, please pick up, please pick up, please. And so he picks up while I'm going and I'm like, Dad, please, all the lights have gone on my dashboard and I don't know what they mean. So obviously my dad, being the voice of reason, is like, okay, ring the airline, explain what's happened. You've got like an hour, you might still have time, just see. So I ring the airline, I let them know what's going on and they're like,
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, there's a 15-minute cut-off point, so if you're more than 15 minutes late, you can't start the course today.
which is exactly what I needed to hear when I'm sobbing on the edge of the motorway in the pitch black at 5:50 in the morning. And so I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just call the breakdown people then. So I go to try and find the number for my breakdown company, and it turns out that with the particular one that I'm with, you don't call them, you fill in the details on an app, and they call you back. Which sort of seems to lack a sense of urgency that may be needed with a breakdown, but hey-ho, I don't run the company, so I fill in the stuff with the app. At this point, I've gotten out of the car because I know that is the sensible thing to do when you're on a motorway and you break down. I'm out of the car, I'm as far to the side of the road as I possibly can be. I can't leave my hazard warning lights on because my power is gone, so, you know, if anyone else pulls into the hard shoulder, they could just crash into my car because it's pitch black, as I've said many a time. So I'm there waiting for the breakdown company to ring me back. It's been like half an hour at this point. The entire time, I'm just standing at the side of the road, freezing cold, sobbing. I think at one point I did kick the car and scream to the heavens, this isn't what I meant when I said I didn't want to start! And I didn't even bring a coat. I didn't even bring a coat because I had put on my smart office wear, you know, the nice shirt and the skirt and everything. I'd put that on in the morning and I'd tried on all of my coats and been like, none of these look good, none of these look professional. I'll just wear a cardigan, it'll be fine. I'm not going to be spending any great amount of time outside. being that early in the morning and in the middle of like a random cold snap that we're having, I was freezing. Luckily, thanks to some angelic intervention, I happened to have my old Go Ape coat from my old job in the back of my car, which was, it's not like the warmest coat in the world, but it's something. So I'm there in my Go Ape coat and my fancy skirt and my shoes that are like basically made of cardboard, so my feet are freezing. I cannot feel my toes. Waiting for this breakdown company to bring me back. There we go. That's the leggings fixed. So the recovery company finally ring me back and they say, okay, yep, so what we're going to have to do is take you back to Southampton, we'll take you to a garage. Cool, whatever, that's fine. At this point, I've accepted that I'm not going to be on time for my first day and I'm going to have to do the course another day. I've pushed that right to the back of my mind. So I'm like, yep, cool, just take me back to Southampton, that would be great, thank you. He then looks at my policy and is like, oh, wait, we can't cover you for this because we don't cover cars that are out of their MOT. And I'm like, excuse me? What? For those of you who don't live in England or don't drive or whatever, an MOT is basically the thing you have to get done yearly on your car. It's like a series of tests basically to test that your car is roadworthy. If your car doesn't pass the MOT, you need to get the work done in order for it to pass in order to be allowed to drive. It's a legal requirement in order to drive on the roads in the UK. And because I am a fucking idiot, I did not set myself a reminder to get my MOT done at the right time. Just repairing a hole in my tights, by the way. I did not set myself this reminder. I just completely forgot. And so my MOT had run out 10 days prior to this happening, which meant obviously the recovery company weren't going to cover me because why would an insurance company cover a car that isn't legally roadworthy? It's just good business, right? So I'm there on the phone to this guy being like, oh, shit, oh god, oh my god, like no idea what to do. And he's like, so we can still take you back, but you're gonna have to pay for it. I'm like, okay, how much would that be? Bearing in mind I am a 40-minute drive outside of Southampton, the cost to take me and my car back is nearly £200. That's without any work done on the car, that's just to take me back. So at this point I'm like, okay, sure, I just want to go home. So then I'm waiting for the recovery vehicle. I get a text saying it'll be with you anytime between 7 and 9. Okay, fine, I'll just continue to stand here. And while I'm waiting and while I'm sort of receiving many calls from the various friends and family who I've rung in despair, a couple of guys in a white van drive past and decide to beep their horn at me and make disgusting hand and face gestures at me, presumably because I had the nerve to confirm that I do in fact have legs by wearing a skirt. So that was fun. I know some people are assholes, but really, you're on your way to work, you see a crying woman at the side of the road who is clearly broken down and is in distress, and your first instinct is to be a complete and utter dickhat? Really? I'm still angry about that. I kind of wish I could see those men and give them a piece of my fucking mind. But anyway, the lovely recovery man comes to pick me up. He's an absolute angel. He takes me to a garage. They're able to fit me in that day, and they said they'd do my MOT. Fantastic. Obviously, I'm still gonna have to pay for it, but nice that they can fit me in. So I'm on the way back home. I'm getting the bus home, obviously, because I don't have a car. And while I'm on the bus, I get a ring from the airline being like,
We had an email to say that you didn't turn up for your training today. Why?
I'm like, okay, well, I did ring you twice. Once when I broke down, and then after I knew I wasn't going to get in, I did ring and say I wasn't going to be able to be in.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I just need to call some people.
Hangs up. This guy, he rings me like 5 times. Every single time. He doesn't say bye or anything. He'll just say what he needs to say, hang up, and then 30 seconds later ring me again. Like, just keep me on the line. And it's a private number as well, so there's no way of me ringing them and having a conversation on my terms. So he eventually rings me back and is like,
Okay, so I'm not making any promises, but how soon can you get here?
I'm like, well, I can't. I don't have a car. It's in the garage. And he's like,
Oh, can't you get an Uber?
and I'm like, I can't afford an Uber. I can't even afford a train. Like, why do you think I was driving? And he's like,
Oh, well, where are you coming from?
like, Southampton. He's like,
Oh, that's quite a far distance, actually.
I'm like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Why do you think I've been in such a state? And he's like,
Okay, well, we're doing all that we can.
hangs up. Don't hear from him again. Okay, listening back to my retelling of this conversation, it does make it sound like I was being a massive Karen. But trust me when I tell you that this guy was being supremely unhelpful. Like, I told him all of the information multiple times. He didn't listen. And I have been so messed around by this specific department of this airline that I was just so done at this point. But rest assured, I did not actually say no shit Sherlock to him because I'm too British and polite and I don't have the balls. Okay, back to the story. So I basically go home and just have a bit of a cry. I get a ring from the garage. My car needed a drive belt, a new water pump, it needed some bulbs, it needed some adjusting in various places, which means I now owe them around £400. That is in addition to the £200 that it took to relay me back to Southampton. So that's great. So this was Thursday. It's now Tuesday. Nobody rang me. Nobody said anything. I emailed them yesterday to be like, what's going on? When can I start? And they did reply today to say that they're hoping that I can start on the 21st of March, but they're gonna have to check my file just in case. So who really knows? The slight problem with that is that there's been a lot of talk in the airline about them having taken on too many staff, essentially, and so they're offering a ton of people unpaid leave. They're also cancelling a lot of training courses over the next couple of months. So if I don't make it into the 21st of March, there's a good chance I just won't get trained until like after the summer or something. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I might be starting on the 21st of March. I don't know if my old job will even take me back again after I had literally said to them, this is the last time, I promise you. So now here I am with no job and no income. And the thing that really annoys me about this is that my car is so reliable. Like, my parents live 3 or 4 hours away. I go and visit my family, you know, once every couple of months maybe, and it's never failed me. It's never failed me on that 3 to 4 hour drive. And the one day that I need it to work, and I need it to work on time, it explodes on me. Now, granted, this could have been a lot worse. I could have been in a horrific car accident or something. Like, I am very grateful it was just that it broke down, and actually, in the grand scheme of car repairs, it wasn't all that much to repair. But it just feels a little bit like a slap in the face, you know? It kind of feels like the universe being like, do you really want this job? And I hate that because the rational, scientific part of my brain is like, the universe isn't saying shit to you, dude. The universe can't talk. It, like, come on, man. But the rest of my brain is like, what if these 2 pushbacks is just the universe's way of saying to me that this is a bad idea and that I'm going to be involved in some hideous plane crash when I start the job? And I hate that my brain is going there, but it is. And I know why my brain is going there. It's because I'm scared to start this because I don't want to have no free time to see the people that I want to see. I don't want to have no free time to make videos. But the thing is, every single other job that I've looked at makes me want to vomit. This is the only job that I have found, you know, apart from being a full-time YouTuber, which isn't exactly something you can just apply for and walk into. This is the only job I've found that makes me go, oh wow, yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. So like, if I don't take this, I'm screwed. You know, even if my old job at Showcase would take me back, it's minimum wage. I'm 27, I've got to start accruing some savings at some point. And the stupid upsetting thing is that I loved my job at the cinema. I really enjoyed it. The people there were amazing, and you wouldn't think that as a maths grad I would enjoy something as, I don't know, I guess intellectually unstimulating as just selling people cinema tickets. But after 20-something years of working my arse off to get the best grades possible, I kind of liked having something I could just go in and easily do and then come home and enjoy my free time, you know? And then get to work with a bunch of amazing people at the same time. Like, if I could have known all of this stuff would happen, it's not that I don't think I would have applied for the job, but I wish I'd known that this was going to happen so that I could have stayed in the job and not left and now feel like I can't go back. And now, here I am, unemployed, and obviously I don't know what I'm going to do financially. If there is a chance that I can get some help from my parents, that would actually be amazing. I would love to have some time to work on YouTube and work on my mental health, because that needs some topping up. And that would be incredible. There's a part of me that's like, I don't want to go back into this. I don't want to go back into work. I don't want to... I don't know. I'm in a bit of an existential crisis at the moment, capitalism and the idea that if you love to create things, it's so much harder to get a job that you enjoy. Like, nigh on impossible unless you have some savings to live off while you put in a shit ton of work to make it happen. I'm just sort of internally raging against the machine, and it's just left me feeling a little bit despondent about everything. You know, obviously when all of this happened, I was really annoyed and upset that I wasn't going to be able to start this job when I'd psyched myself up for it. But I was actually mostly annoyed and upset because I was somewhat relieved that I wasn't going to be starting and that I could have a little bit more time here with my people. But then I look at what kind of jobs are on offer here, and it's, like I say, it's all stuff that I feel like I would hate. Or it's stuff that pays absolute minimum wage that I can't afford to live on right now. I just can't help feeling there's a better way, but I can't see what that way is. You know, I do want to travel, of course I want to travel, but it comes at the sacrifice of my emotional stability with the friends that I have here. And not just the friends I have here, but also like family events. Like, you know, it's my nephew's first birthday coming up and I'm now going to be able to make it, which is great. But before, when I was starting my training, I wasn't going to be able to make it. And it's kind of common knowledge that if you're cabin crew, you can't always make it to like family events and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you signed up for this job. You knew what the consequences were. And I've come so far with it, it would be stupid to jack it in just for the sake of being scared to start it, you know? That's a really stupid reason to not do something. But this whole occurrence has just kind of, I don't know, just kind of shaken up how I feel and made me a bit sad. I mean, I guess the only thing that I can do is to wait and see, right? I'm at liberty to choose what I want to do, and if I start it and I hate it, I can stop it. And I just keep having to remind myself that I am not locked into this just because I said I'd do it. But there we go. That is my story time. That's the week I'm having. I'm not gonna lie. I have spent a significant amount of time over the last week face down on the living room floor, but I think it's gonna get better. I'm sure it's gonna get better. The fact that I'm even recording a video is already making me feel better, so that's something. I really hope you guys are having a better week than I am, or I hope that if you're having a difficult week, then we can just share in some solidarity of having a little bit of a shit time and hope that next week is better. I have not been drinking my hot chocolate this entire time and it is probably cold. It's like lukewarm. That was way too much in one go. I've got to stop treating everything like as a shot. Okay, so that's another seam repaired, which I thought was going to get really bad because it's a knitted seam, but I managed to stretch it out while I stitched it, so it's only a little bit puckered. And I don't think anyone's going to notice. So I'm going to leave it there. If I talk much more about this, I'm going to go actually insane, but I just feel like I needed to get it out. It is what it is, right? Sometimes shitty things happen and you just have to roll with it, and I am very good at doing that because I make a lot of bad decisions. So I'm used to having to roll with the punches because the punches are fairly frequent. I hope that you're having a lovely time, that you have a lovely week, and that you manage to use this time to get some things fixed, to get some things done. And I will see you soon for more cozy chaos. Bye!